Hello, my fellow readers. I, Dark Symphony 777, with our fan fiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below any thoughts on the story, and any future fan fictions you want me to read or review. And as always, this is my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. Now, readers, do you like Waluigi? Yes. Do you want to see him go on a special adventure? Yes. Do you want to see a weird, wacky story that's like a pseudo video game thing? I'm a Bob. Huh? Yes, my fellow reader. Yeah, now go away. Your little bitty's down. Done. I love my little plushie. I love my little plushie. So the story I am reviewing is called Waluigi the Master Thief. It is honestly something else, to be honest. The story was written by Childhood Heart Forever. She actually retired a couple years ago from FanFiction. So I don't know if I'll be able to even contact her. I don't know if she's going to pay attention to, like, the personal messages and stuff like that. All I know is this story is just so weird that it's peak fanfiction. So before I get into the plot, I want to talk about the whole gimmick behind the story, because yes, this one gigantic, nearly 150,000 word story is one gigantic gimmick. So basically, the idea behind this story is supposed to be like video game-esque. Like, instead of like, and I don't mean video game as it's like a video game. No, I mean it reads like you're reading a walkthrough of some sort, some kind of pseudo walkthrough sort of thing, where you're watching, you know, like every time when we get a new character, we get like a tutorial, and like constantly mentioning like the A, the B, the 2, because this was made during when the Wii was a big thing, and so it's really quirky idea that I actually really like, but also I have a love-hate relationship with the story, because it has a lot of good ideas that are actually really well implemented, but at the same time, these good ideas also kind of give us like a double-edged sword effect, where they're good, but they're also bad. Like, they help and they hinder the story at the same time. So it's really weird like that. And that's pretty much the gimmick. You're actually reading someone actually making, here's how a video game starring Waluigi would go. It'd be like a Sly Cooper-esque adventure like that. And yes, the author even says that, yes, it's kind of based off Sly Cooper. Sly Cooper is actually a pretty fun platformer. So what's the plot? The plot is actually divided into chapters, sort of things. The first chapter actually stars Waluigi, you know, kind of down over losing to his arch nemesis Luigi in a tennis tournament, and he's upset, like, wah, I lost again. Down Luigi must have been cheating. And then this Boo shows up and says, hello, my name is Albert. Now that I actually said that out loud, I completely butchered that. Supposed to be like a pun on Albert, but Boos, when it comes to names, they always seem to have some kind of pun with the word Boo in them, like Nintendo sort of thing. And so Albert kind of talks to Waluigi and said, ha, you know, you are the most likely to cheat. And it's like, Waluigi knows that. Yeah, Waluigi talks third person in the story. And it's like, Waluigi needs to know why Luigi's better than Waluigi, because Waluigi is #1. And then Albert pretty much kind of slightly breaks the fourth wall. It's like, well, you, sir, are the only one of the group that hasn't gone on an adventure. It said, wow. Waluigi says you're right. Which is actually true. Like, every single main character of the Mario game has been in at least one mainstream Mario title, except for Waluigi. Even Daisy, who's kind of known as the butt monkey, who everyone wants to see in a main series game, just never is, was in Super Mario Land, which is considered a main series game. despite the fact, she was kidnapped. It still counts. It still counts. And so the whole plot kind of kicks off from there. Every single chapter follows kind of the same format. Like they're in a certain area, and they want to steal from someone and give to themselves. And that's basically it. There's a kind of like they're literally a Nintendo-esque version of the Saiku game. And so the first chapter kind of starts in Diamond City. Waluigi wants to prove to Wario that he's better than him. And then it goes to the Mushroom Kingdom, then to Darkland, and then to Kong Island, then to the Shake Dimension, and to the Common Observatory, and finally to this original place called the Golden Isle. And each chapter contained about 6, 7, or 8 missions, so to speak. And so I said it's kind of the story has a double-edged sword in the fact that the plot is actually pretty easy to figure out because it's literally just Waluigi and his gang kind of show up in this area, rob stuff. He's a thief gang, and then they do a couple missions to get to the loot. They get the loot, they fight the boss, they get a new person to join their gang. And then rinse and repeat. That's literally the plot. And so the plot kind of ends with all but like 4 members of the gang kind of going their separate ways, and like Waluigi, Albert, Ashley, and Captain Syrup, they kind of like they live in luxury. Like, hey, we're gonna retire from this business, sort of deal. It really does get kind of. And here's where we get to the problem: is the fact that while the idea is technically sound, it does get repetitive at times. It gets really, really repetitive. Like, in terms of the plot, it's literally just they show up, they do some stuff, they fight the boss, they get the money, they get a new member, and then that's it. That is it. That is it for about 6 chapters. It only really shakes up once we get to, like, the Golden Isle. I like the idea behind the plot. Basically, it's not only to see what theoretically, like, what game style would Waluigi fit in. Like, with Mario, you got platforming. With Bowser, you had sort of the RPG. Like, even Bowser had, like, Mario RPG and Bowser's Life Story, so he fit, like, a brawler type of thing. Luigi has Luigi's Mansion. Mario has Wario Land and WarioWare. Even Princess Peach has Super Princess Peach, where she uses the power of PMS to fight, and that game also contains the single dirtiest joke in Nintendo's history. I don't know how Nintendo got away with doing probably the most hilarious vibrator joke in the world. I don't know how that's possible, but Nintendo pulled it off with that in that game. Hey, everyone has a 5 scepter. If you can even find, your mom might even have one in her drawer. No, seriously, that was an actual joke in Super Princess Peach at the end. Don't believe me? Go look it up. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. That's actually said in that game. I'm so sure Nintendo. Oh, maybe we should put in a vibrator joke just to get this 5 scepter thing over. I don't know what they were thinking. Oh, that's funny. But still very dirty. So basically that was plot. The other main purpose of the story was to give, kind of highlight some of the underrated characters. Characters that a lot of people really love, but don't really get a lot of love from Nintendo. Hence why the whole thing is Waluigi, the main character. Albert, he represents the Boos. For the most part, no one really cares that much about the Boos, outside of, like, King Boo. And I guess you could say, like, some of the female ghosts, like Melody from Luigi's Mansion, and the Ghost Triplets from Luigi's Mansion 2. And what is it with people, with Nintendo, doing, like, all the best looking, like, all the favorite ghosts being, like, the little girls? Weird. And then after that, they pick up Ashley. Ashley from the WarioWare series, probably the most popular WarioWare character, which is saying something because all WarioWare characters are actually really entertaining and really good in their own quirky way, and people just gravitate towards the little lolly witch who's like very creepy. Then after that, they picked up for the Koopalings. This was made, I believe, this was made before New Super Mario Brothers Wii. I don't know. So, take that as you would. They picked up Iggy, Ludwig, Wendy, and Roy. After that, they picked up Funky Kong. Everyone loves Funky Kong. He's like a really hilarious character who like people want to see more of. And then after that, they get Captain Syrup from the Wario Land series. Everyone loves Captain Syrup. I actually love Captain Syrup. I think I really liked her personality. I like a punk style witch sort of thing. I don't know, like she's very very greedy and stuff like that. I really love Captain Syrup. And then after that, they get Gino. No, they get Toadsworth. I forgot Toadsworth. Everyone kind of likes Toadsworth. He's kind of quirky in an old man sort of way. And then finally at the Common Observatory, they get Gino, of course, Space. Gino makes sense. And then finally, they beat the final bad guy. They retire everyone except for Waluigi, Red, Albert, and Captain Syrup. They go back home. And then the story actually ends with the final four: Albert, Ashley, Waluigi, and Captain Syrup kind of just retiring. It's like, we're out. We're so rich. We don't need the thief anymore. That's the plot, and I really liked how the plot was structured. That was kind of structured into this whole gimmick of watching someone actually write a game sort of thing. And like I said, the story is very very weird how it does everything because. Like when we first, for example, when we first meet Albert, and Albert said, "Oh, I'm gonna give you a tutorial how you do stuff." It's like, okay, and it's like, well, Mario can double jump, right? It's like, I know that. You can triple jump. It's like you just have to press the A button 3 times, and then you can hold A to like swim and cross gaps, and then you press the Z button. It's like it's very weird like that. But it's weird in a way that's actually implemented very well. Like, nothing becomes overbearing. Yeah, it kind of gets hand-holdy a little bit, like somewhere around the middle, but it mostly just edges itself out as the story goes on, which is helpful. There's so many little nuances, but the problem is that double-edged sword comes. Double-edged for the plot is the story, like, I get what the author was trying to do. Problem is, the reason Sly Cooper kind of succeeded where this story kind of flounders is the fact we're given enough time to get a handle on all the characters, the villains. Like, every single story had, like, a villain. It's fine when you're talking about Wario, because Wario's technically the bad guy in the first chapter. Technically, it was Wario. He's more just neutral. It's like, I don't care. If you save my life, I'll give you money. Money. Stuff like that. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about anyone. He just cares about the money. And so, Waluigi just wants to prove he's better than, like, he's number one. Like, Waluigi, number one! Stuff like that. And so the story kind of... And also, we don't get enough of the plot to breathe. Like, we don't get a little time to breathe out because every single there's a lot of cutscenes in Sly Cooper, and a lot of the chapters actually kind of give us more and more character development, which kind of edges along into let's dovetail into the characters. So first you have Waluigi. Here's the form basis: Waluigi, Albert, Ashley, great. All 3 of these characters are great. They have a great group dynamic. Like, they play off each other really well throughout the entire story because they're the ones that last the longest. Like, Waluigi is like this third person talking, like, overly confident idiot who's like, Waluigi knows what he's doing. It's like, do you? It's like, no. Albert's like the nerd, like the sort of common sense kind of balancing Waluigi, but he also plays off Ashley really well with Ashley with Ashley acting like, yeah, I know what you're doing, like you don't have to bother me. And then Ashley gets a crush on Waluigi. They all play off each other really well, and I really, really love that. I really love their interactions, like Ashley just completely snarking off Albert's anything he says. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, way, like during the one of the chapters when Albert basically tells Ashley in the common observatory area, just pick up 3 stars so we can figure out what's happening. He's like, all right, why do I? And she's like, why do I have to do this? Like 1, 2. I hate you, Albert. I know you do. Sort of deal. Like, and it really helps their characters out. Like, these are the 3 characters that kind of get the most screen time. The other characters are just honestly there. Like, that's the problem. That's the double-edged sword of the characters. Like, we have 3 really good characters in a group of a 12-person team. Only about a 4th of the group is even likable. We have Red. He's never there. Granted, Red has an excuse. He's with Ashley all the time, so... You have Toadsworth, who only really... who just kind of pops up in there. He's kind of important in the Bowser area, but after that, he just jumps into the background. Then you have the Koopalings. They matter none. They have one little mission to shine, and that's it. They're just, Roy gets like the best chapter. He's basically just a beat 'em up guy. He's like, you have a doubt. Oh, like the Golden Island said, okay, there is a court full of bad guys. What, Roy? Yeah. Can you beat up all 1,000 of those guys? Yeah. That's basically Roy's shtick. It's like, can I beat it up? Can I blow it up? No, you're overqualified. Can I do it now? No, you're overqualified. Damn it! At least Roy has like a purpose of being like a sort of pseudo comic relief, because it's like, okay, when are we gonna get Roy's time to shine? It's like, it's gonna be now? Dang it! But outside of that, they're just all shafted. Funky Kong, he's shafted immediately. He has the surfer lingo, which is kind of hilarious, but he serves no purpose. That's it. Outside of like 1 or 2 missions, he's just there. Captain Syrup, she kind of has a purpose, kind of balancing herself with Ashley. Like, she kind of plays off Ashley a little bit. That's really all Syrup has going for her. That is it. Mainly because Ashley gets jealous of Captain Syrup, thinking Captain Syrup's gonna... Maple's gonna steal my man. I better not let that happen. And this is kind of epitomized through the final chapter of the Comet Observatory, where Captain Syrup and Waluigi are running away from a black hole. They're like near the observatory force field to let them out of there. And Ashley kind of walks up to both of them, and she's like glaring at Captain Syrup, and she's like, and she grabs Waluigi. Ashley grabs Waluigi, and Waluigi makes sure to grab the captain, and they all get it. Like, what? Ashley, why did you do that? Why are you just staring at her? It's like, I wanted to see who was more important. I chose you. And she like, and stuff like that. But Syrup at least plays off Ashley, so it's just a problem that Captain Syrup kind of showed up at literally near the end, so she didn't have much to work with. And Gino, he's just in the background. So you have, out of 12 characters, you have 3, maybe 4 good characters, and the rest of them are just in the background. This is not including any characters that kind of appear in the actual chapters, like the characters that are exclusive to that area, like the WarioWare crew, Mario and Peach and Daisy and stuff like that. Like, they just show up. They're just backgrounds. Like, it's fine, but the whole point, if you're trying to be like Sly Cooper, the least you can do is give us more character development on those front, because whenever we get a character, we go to a new area. Like, we take the example of the first Sly Cooper game. Every single character, like every single crime boss, not only we see their character development from the beginning, where we see like a short little background of their character. But as you're going along through each story, you find at least a little bit more about them and through their character and the stage and how everything interacts. It's small details like that gave Sly sort of a really neat edge. Like, As you're finding more information about every single character, whether it be the main group, the villains, any of the background characters like Carmelita. There's so much going on that the game actually manages to balance really well that this story does not. And majority of that is the fact a lot of the characters are just completely irrelevant or unneeded. Pacing. Everything kind of it feels like a video game at times. Like it goes that way, but again, that double-edged sword grows back the story does get repetitive. Though each chapter basically boils down to possible tutorial. Here's a mission. The mission's done, and then like a little signature at the end. Like that's, and not much happens in each of those chapters. Like that's it. Like I just described literally every single chapter except for maybe Golden Isle, because that one Waluigi kind of fails at the end where he's captured by the Golden King and they have to rush into the palace to save Waluigi. You know, hence leading to the Roy beatdown. You know, stuff like that. And so while it is entertaining at first, it gets horribly repetitive and boring after about a couple chapters, at least until we meet the new character. Granted, the only reason I have a soft spot for the story, like I genuinely do have a soft spot for the story, mainly because it's literally the only story to actually give Ashley a substantial role. I happen to be a big fan of Ashley. Like I really love her character. And I was ecstatic the fact that she was put in Smash as an assist trophy. I'm like, yes. Like, what Ashley? They got the best Wario character. And it's like, because Ashley was just so adorable. She's just someone you want to hold. And it's like, and then she just wonks you on the head with a wand and saying, nope, bad person. I'm not supposed to be hugged. I'm supposed to be a witch. And so, you know, we have all these shenanigans with Ashley. But the pacing, in terms of pacing, it starts off decent, but it gets really repetitive. There's nothing really done to shake things up, and everything kind of moves too fast to kind of get a feel for the world. Like, another thing that Sly Cooper did right that this did wrong is the fact that we got a lot of world through, mainly through the plot, but also through, like, the areas, like, you have lots of stuff to do. Like, I really liked to see this story as an actual story rather than the weird pseudo walkthrough. But it's fine as it is. It's not bad, but it has a lot of missed opportunity. Grammar. There are a couple grammar errors scattered throughout the story. Not a lot, but nothing much. The story, the sentence structure. It gives a very gamey feel to it, like with the tutorials and how everything works. Like in Diamond City, when Albert told Waluigi to try and get a picture of Dr. Cragor, and Waluigi's like, "Oh, he lives in the middle of the ocean." It's like, wait, there's some boats right in front of you. You know, try and air swim across them and cling onto the boats and get to the island. That actually feels like you're watching a game. It actually feels realistic. And then on the other side of that, you have really that it kind of conjoins with the pacing and the fact everything kind of rushes through at points that it gets that you just want to get it over with and just move on to the next thing and say, it's like, that's it. That's really it. Like with the actually capturing the stars thing, like it's there and done in like 5 seconds. I literally read that chapter like under a minute. That's how fast that one was. And so we finally get to the end. Would I recommend this story? No, and that actually pains me to say, because I actually genuinely have a soft spot for the story. I actually love the idea of the story. The core idea, the core gimmick of the story is one that's actually pretty creative. It's fun. It does so many things right in terms of the characters and implementing the idea into the story. Like, You actually feel like you're actually kind of watching a sort of pseudo Let's Play sort of thing. But on the other hand, there's just so much structurally wrong with it. I can't really recommend it, and that's the biggest shame, because if I put any bias into this review, I would have recommended it, like no hesitation. But the problem is there's more wrong with it than there is right with it. Like the only thing right with the story is the ideas and the main three characters. That is it. Because I really loved Waluigi, Albert, and Ash's interactions. They were very realistic. They were very fun. They were very quirky, snarky. They had so much entertainment. I think if we were just given these three throughout the entire story, I probably would have recommended it just on their characters alone. But it became harder and harder to recommend the story as more characters were being added to the gang, and just having 12 characters just completely killed it for me. It's just that is what broke it. The fact that the game's biggest strength, the interactions between the story's biggest the interactions between the main three characters. That was what's really keeping me alive. And then they started adding more characters. Then the author added Toadsworth and the Koopalings and Funky and Captain Syrup and Gino. It just really got harder. It really got harder to justify recommending the story, and then it just completely fell apart at the end. Oh, really, really bad. But if you're a Waluigi fan or an Ashley fan, go give the story a try. It's worth your while. Favorite part: Roy finally getting to throw down. Seriously, it's been kind of hilarious over the simple fact that throughout each chapter, there's like one moment where Roy's like, "Hey, am I gonna finally do something?" No. Darn it. and then finally at like the Golden Island and said, "Boy, yeah, break him." Yeah. And granted, the game kind of becomes like a short beat 'em up, because that's basically what Roy's gimmick was. He's just one chapter, one mission, beat 'em up central. But that part is actually pretty entertaining. If anything, just skip to that one part. I think it's chapter 7, part 3 3, I believe, 3 or 4. And that's it. It's just basically Roy shows up, beats a bunch of people, leaves. Yeah, that's it. That's literally my favorite part. But it's more the build up to finally seeing him. It's like, why are you not using Roy? It's like, Roy, yeah, you're up. Like, not bad. I do like the story, and I really like that part. Sure, probably a close second would be the interaction between Ashley and Hubert. Just hilarious. Like, just Albert trying to tell Ashley, he's like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm gonna snark you. I'll make it turn into a potion. Okay. And it's just a really fun dynamic. What would I do to change the story? Honestly, I honestly think this story should be put up for adoption. Like, someone should adopt the story and write their own version. Like, write an actual story version of this story. Like, you basically have the full basis of the plot. You have everything that's going to go on in the story in Child Hearts Forever's version. You have that. I would really like someone to literally go, here's how it's done, and write a full-fledged novel version. And honestly, you can go one or two ways. Either you do the whole version. You make it just actually Waluigi and Albert. You just have them as the main core dynamic. And then like the other members, they come in like as a once per chapter thing, like a once per act sort of deal, or along with like a lot of world building, actual fights and stuff like that. Or you incorporate the other groups, but you give each of them a big chapter or two to themselves. Like they have a mini character arc in each act to give them kind of their own shine, give them their own take, to kind of incorporate them better into the Waluigi game. Like I said, the ideas are there, and it's just really held back by itself. By its own ideas, it's holding it back. I really, honestly, would love to see an actual novel version of the story. That would actually be completely awesome because we get a freaking lovable Ashley. Like I love Ashley, love her in the story, but come on, I want to see more of her. We get more time to see world building and how everything's done. We see all this stuff happening. It's like it kind of makes me sad. That's the only story we get. Ashley, that really hurts because I love Ashley. If only there was someone who can adopt this story and then do a different version of it, do an actual novel version of the story. What? What are you doing on Mocha? You mean Mocha McDowell? I don't think she wants to do the story. Ask her? No, I really don't think she will want to do the story. Is it because of Ashley? I don't know. Just shoot. You had your time. Why are you butting in? I know you're the best Pokemon, but you're just butting. Now you're just being a nuisance. My fans won't like that if you just constantly butt in all the time. Joe, Joe, Joe. I'll call to you later. So I guess I don't know. Maybe if she wants to do it, maybe Mocha wants. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking with that. So that is Waluigi and Master Thief. Next story, I'm going back to Longdale with Jane Lane and Pleasantdale. That story's gonna be probably up in a day or two. Probably around Thursday. And then after that, I got another Dan versus story, or at least chapter. So this has been Dark Symphony 777, and